what is the Bible when we're talking about that? So let's assume someone's listening to this. They have no idea what the Bible is. They're new to church, new to this whole church Christianity thing, and we always talk about the Bible.
Yep.
What does that even mean? What is the Bible?
Oh, that was a good lull. That was a good lull right there.
Well, kids, I'll jump in. I'm not shy. Bible is really, we call it a book. It's not really a book. We say that because it's compiled into a book form, and it's fine. That's fine. It's not a problem to think of it that way, but it's really a collection of 66 different types of literature.
Yep.
27 on the second half of the Bible, we would call the New Testament, 33 on the first half that we would call the Old Testament.
Yep.
Old Testament pre-Jesus coming onto the planet.
39.
39?
Yeah, I was thinking the same
39
thing.
and 33
Okay.
and 27 only equals
Look, this
60.
is not a math podcast.
I got that wrong on a Sunday morning one time, too.
And
Like the
heard about it.
slide and
That's
everything
right,
and
yeah.
heard about it.
Shout out to anybody that's done Bible Matters with me. That's on me.
You know
so.
what? Talk about Bible Matters just for a second.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do run a class here called Bible Matters. It's great, 6 weeks, and it really dives deeper into the stuff. The next one's starting in April. You'll see promo stuff for it coming out before long. But a lot of the stuff that we'll probably get into on this podcast, we end up digging into much more deeply. And it's helpful to know where the Bible comes from, how we got it, because there can be, your question, lots of confidence in that. Mm-hmm. But we exist in a culture that loves to tear down and deconstruct things. And so sometimes there's fear. But so we spend 3 weeks talking about where it comes from and validity, and then we spend 3 weeks talking about how to use it. Personal life, counseling life, groups life. So, yeah.
I would just say that the Bible is it is in a sense one book in terms of there is one theme, and it's about God's interaction with man and God's plan to redeem man. So when it starts at the beginning of creation and ultimately looks to eternity, but it's all about what it takes for God and his creation, us, to be in relationship with each other. So that's the common theme that's there. Chris said 66 books, different kinds of literature, and you need to read each type of literature, recognizing that. I've said before, we've talked about it in messages, you don't read the tax code the way that you read a novel. You don't read history the way that you read romance. It's just helpful to recognize the different kinds of literature that there are so that you know what you're reading through.
Yeah.
There's a beauty to that single story that spans multiple different types of literature. So there's historical narrative that is used. There's law code that's used. There's poetry that's used. There's songs, but it still tells that same story. And we're talking over 40 different authors, 1,500-year period of writing, encompassing thousands of years of history. I don't know, it's like 30 different countries, 3 continents. So it's a very vast expanse.
So why in the world would anybody ever have trouble interpreting or figuring it out, right? Come on.
But the
That's
beauty
all.
is, amongst all that diversity, there is no significant discrepancy that would prove, and that's just impossible. That's an impossibility if it was just some dudes who were like, "Hey, let's have some fun today, guys. All right, hold my beer," and then they came up with it. It's just not possible.
And there's the ability to recognize that when you read through the book, it's different than most books that you read cover to cover, because it's not necessarily in chronological order, because it's written by so many different authors. However, there is some chronology to it that you can read through it and have a sense of chronology. One of my favorite stories was somebody here at Northpointe a few years ago that was just new to reading the Bible and was reading through the Gospels. So they had finished Matthew and they had just started to read Mark and said, "I don't get this. It's like telling some of the same stories over again.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just keep going with the same story?" And he thought the Gospels were like the story of Jesus, part 1, story of Jesus, part 2, part 3, and part 4, and that's the whole story of Jesus.
Yep.
And so just being able to have the conversation to say, no, it's 4 different perspectives, 4 different people telling the story of Jesus, and they're going to highlight different kinds of things. So it just helps to know what you're reading and what lens to read with.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a great introductory overview to even just help define terms and help explain things like why do we split things into an Old Testament and a New Testament? If you're opening your Bible for the first time and you're seeing things split up and you're seeing books like Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus, and you go to people's names and all these, like everything's written very differently, to have that understanding of it's meant to be this collection of a variety of works that all tell the same story. They all point back to God.